Welcome back to opinionsaretefree.com. This is your safe space, your safe place to post an opinion on this topic that we'll introduce today or on any other topic you see on our webpage. And as well, if you wanted to introduce one of your topics, you can just send us an email and we'll take it from there. I want to ask you a question. Are corporations or shareholders keeping us poor? Now, if we look at the current business environment, and this is May 2023, by the way, we know that some of the small banks are having a hard time. This is in the U.S. market, by the way. The mid-range banks are also finding it a little difficult right now, and the larger banks are sopping up a lot of those deposits, which changes the business environment dramatically. If you're in a small town, you now have to deal with somebody that you've never talked to, you've never met in your town, somebody in a large city, very, behind the glass wall type of discussion that you may not be used to, but that's the way it's evolving or devolving. You can use whichever term you wish. But I want to talk to you about corporations. Now, I'm going to talk about a hypothetical situation, okay? A corporation shareholder meeting takes place, and the shareholders demand a greater return on their shares. So the corporate bosses demand great efficiency, and so the corporation, say a bank or a car company, lops off a few hundred employees in the name of achieving greater efficiency and improving client experience. Now, those are very common phrases that you've heard before. So most of those employees will try to seek other work. Some will retire, but if work is not available due to a slowing economy or a glut in their field, those former employees will have to seek unemployment assistance or eventually welfare assistance. Now, the corporation for that earnings season shows a higher profit, allowing for a larger dividend payment to shareholders, and also spurs their stock prices upwards, as investors look at this as a bullish sign for the stock. And the bosses on top, having achieved their objectives, receive bonuses, some of which push their yearly incomes to a level where they exceed the total lifetime earnings of the individual laid-off employees. Corporations have a legal responsibility to the shareholders, not the end consumer. And the corporation will do everything and anything to reach their goals, including replacing thousands of workers with lower remote cost employees, automation, and now even AI. Now, I'm not advocating for government-controlled industry, but I'm asking if the current structure is harmful to the average wage owner. So let's recap a little bit. You work at, I'm going to use a bank as an example. That's a good one. And you and 300 others are lopped off. Of course, in the publications, the bank will say that it's to promote greater efficiency and to improve customer experience, which means they're going to have perhaps remote operators do the work, domestically possibly, but also internationally, depending on what the rules are. Now, an individual tries to find another job. They can't find the job in their field. They can't find a job in another field that pays them sufficient money, or they can't find a job at all. They're on unemployment. They're on welfare at some point. That cost is passed on ultimately to the tax-paying public, right? Not so much the corporation, but the tax-paying public. So in a sense, the taxpayers are subsidizing corporate earnings. Now, in that given year or that given period, reporting period, the people on top, if they achieve their particular goal, they may get bonuses. And those bonuses, if you look at the actual earning potential of the average American worker, the average Canadian worker, let's just take that at, on an average, let's say $60,000, because there are some years when you're going to make $60,000 or $70,000 or $80,000, and then there are other years where you may be making $20,000, $30,000 or $40,000 for economic reasons, because of illness and whatever. So if you work 45 years, at 45 by 60 is roughly $2.4 million, if I got my math right. Whereas somebody, a CEO, may make a bonus of $1 million on top of their pay of $2 million or $3 million. In some cases, what they make in any given year will exceed what you will make in your entire working lifetime. So you see how unbalanced that scale can be. Because if you look at how business works, if you can take a little bit of money from a lot of people, you make a lot more than if you take a lot of money from a small group of people, which is why the taxpayers, the middle class especially, are disproportionately taxed, because if you're on the other side, you can afford to get out of those taxes by paying accountants or finding tax shelters. And if you're on the other side, you don't pay tax because you're not making enough to justify paying taxes. And that's a generalization. So my question to you is, do we have to look at how corporations are structured and how the rules of corporate governance are in fact negative for the industry and the economy as a whole? Perhaps we should look at restructuring those. That's a pretty broad question. Again, I'm not advocating a change to any type of political system or any type of economic system. Let's just say that I don't follow the Marxist business rule. I think it's incredibly defunct, but at the same time, profit above all others, including the destruction of your fellow workers, is probably not beneficial anyways. I'm kind of rambling now, so I'm just going to stop. But if you have an opinion, please go on to opinionsarefree.com, post your opinion. Do we have to change the structure? What do you suggest? I'd love to hear your opinion, but please do not put on any links to other comments and other publications, because we don't use those. We want to hear your opinions. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.